Billionaires who usually pour their money into tech companies, luxury assets, or skyscraper-filled real estate portfolios are quietly investing in an unexpected asset. Farmland. Yes, rural, often overlooked, sometimes isolated farmland. People like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Warren Buffett have started acquiring massive tracts of farmland across the United States and globally, raising one crucial question: why? Let's explore the big picture first. Farmland has always been a valuable asset, but until recently, it was typically seen as a steady, unglamorous investment. Farmers cultivated the land, fed the nation, and made a modest living. But today, farmland is transforming into a highly prized commodity that's attracting not only traditional investors, but tech moguls and financiers. So, what's happening here? Is it all about wealth preservation, or is there a hidden agenda that the public might not yet understand? At its core, farmland is finite. With the global population steadily increasing, the demand for food continues to rise. Farmland serves a very basic, unchanging need: food security. And food isn't a commodity that's going away anytime soon. Even during economic recessions, geopolitical instability, or market crashes, people will need to eat. And here's where billionaires see potential. Food security, unlike tech bubbles or volatile financial markets, is a necessity. Investing in farmland gives them a hold over a resource that will only increase in demand. There's also an intriguing financial angle at play. Farmland as an investment often sees stable returns and low volatility. Stocks and real estate markets can swing wildly, especially in times of crisis, but farmland tends to stay resilient. This stability makes it highly attractive as a hedge against inflation and economic downturns. While the value of many assets can plummet during times of uncertainty, farmland can actually increase in worth as it provides essential food and resources. In other words, for the ultra-wealthy, farmland offers both security and steady profit. But it's not just about financial stability. There's another layer to this that's often hidden from the headlines: control over resources. Farmland is more than just soil and crops. It's water rights, it's control over critical agricultural production, and it's a way to influence food supply chains. By buying up farmland, billionaires are indirectly positioning themselves at the top of the food supply chain. In times of crisis, this gives them unparalleled influence over the distribution of food resources, which can be powerful leverage. Take, for instance, the global push towards sustainable energy and plant-based diets. Large-scale farming, if controlled by a handful of individuals, could lead to shifts in what's grown, who has access to it, and at what price. Think about the booming plant-based industry. Many of these products rely heavily on crops like soy, corn, and peas. If billionaires own significant portions of the land that grows these crops, they're not only earning profits from the produce, but also controlling the emerging food trends and sustainability efforts in ways that could impact the entire food system. This brings us to Bill Gates, who has become the largest private owner of farmland in the United States. For years, Gates has been open about his interest in climate change and sustainable agriculture. Through his investments, he's made strides in supporting agricultural innovations that can help combat climate change, like developing drought-resistant crops and improving soil health. On the surface, it's easy to view this as a positive impact, but it raises an interesting question. How much influence should one individual have over an essential resource like farmland? And at what point does owning so much farmland become less about innovation and more about control? Let's take this further. There's speculation that billionaire investment in farmland also ties into the future of food technology, particularly lab-grown meats and genetically modified crops. With significant portions of farmland under their control, billionaires could steer agriculture towards lab-produced foods, altering traditional farming landscapes. This means more centralized food production, with fewer people involved in traditional farming and a greater reliance on technologies that can be patented and owned. Essentially, it moves food production from farms to labs, creating an entirely new market. Another reason billionaires are drawn to farmland is its appeal as an environmental asset. Farmland can play a role in carbon sequestration, helping to capture carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and produce greenhouse gases. With climate change high on the agenda, landowners can potentially earn carbon credits by making eco-friendly improvements to their land, which they can then sell to corporations looking to offset their emissions. So not only does farmland offer a hedge against inflation, but it also provides an opportunity to tap into the lucrative carbon credit market. It's not all purely financial or power-driven though. Some billionaires argue they're buying farmland to preserve it, to ensure that sustainable practices are used, and to support local farming communities. Some foundations and investment firms claim that by purchasing this land, they can prevent it from being used for non-agricultural purposes, like urban development or industrial projects, thus protecting the land's agricultural heritage. But again, this perspective depends on the individual billionaire's goals and values. The question of trust remains: can we rely on billionaires to steward farmland in a way that benefits the broader public. Let's look at the broader implications. If wealthy individuals continue to buy farmland at this rate, we may be looking at a future where small-scale farmers find it increasingly difficult to compete. Farmland prices are already being driven up by high-profile investors, making it tougher for family-owned farms to afford the land they need. It creates a landscape where the wealthiest individuals hold an outsized influence over agriculture, food production, and distribution, essentially aspects that impact everyone. In countries like the United States, where the agricultural industry is a crucial part of the economy, farmland ownership concentrated in the hands of a few could mean shifts in food policy, labor practices, and food accessibility. Critics argue this could lead to a monopolistic control of food resources, where billionaires dictate the crops we grow, the methods we use, and the prices we pay, even influencing global food security. So, what does this mean for the future of agriculture and for us, the everyday consumers? Should we be concerned about the concentration of farmland ownership? And if so, what can be done to ensure that farmland remains a resource that benefits everyone rather than a select few? Farmland isn't just another investment, it's a lifeline. And as the world's wealthiest continue to buy more of it, the question lingers: who will ultimately control the world's food supply? These questions challenge us to think critically about the implications of such concentrated land ownership. Should there be regulations in place to limit how much farmland any one individual can own? Is it wise to allow billionaires to own large portions of farmland when food security affects everyone? Perhaps this trend is just another evolution of investment, but perhaps it's something more, a shift in how resources are controlled, from oil and tech to the land itself. In conclusion, the trend of billionaires buying up farmland isn't just a story of financial investment. It's a narrative of influence, control, and potentially profound changes in how our food systems operate. It poses questions about sustainability, food security, and the delicate balance of power. And while we can't predict the future, one thing is certain: these land acquisitions are setting the stage for a new kind of economy, one rooted not just in profit, but in the power to influence how and what the world eats. Let us know in the comments what you think about this trend. Should farmland remain in the hands of independent farmers, or is it inevitable that big investors will reshape the landscape? If you're interested in seeing how other critical issues are unfolding, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated with more deep dives into the world's most intriguing developments.